Action. Welcome.
Welcome, guys. Cheers, bro.
Yeah, I'm not taking wine. It's fucking hot.
Wait, are we still allowed to cheers because it's a COVID?
Yeah.
We're 1.5 minutes.
Yeah. So welcome to episode 2 of Fly on the Wall.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We've got a few topics to discuss today. One of them I wanted to talk about was masculinity. And actually, it was funny, I mentioned that quickly, that last week I noticed it was our first podcast. And I noticed my voice, I didn't project it that well. And I guess I apologise for those that watched it. It was a little bit softer than what I wanted it to. And because it was our first one, obviously we're still fine-tuning that. So hopefully this time I can project it a little bit better. And I guess that is in line with masculinity. And when you speak, always speak with a robust voice and make sure that you project properly. Because if you speak like this and you're very soft, you come across as being quite the opposite of masculine. Would you agree?
Yeah. I think voice, body language.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
That's not all to it, but that's a part of it.
Simple thing about
communication
body
is a big part of it.
Absolutely. Like the way I'm sitting right now, body language.
Yeah.
I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm relaxed.
So
I'm not small. I'm taking up space. Don't be afraid to sit down, guys, and do a man spread, for God's sake.
So
seriously,
something you'll notice, I don't know if other people take note of it, in a corporate environment, watch the body language of someone who goes into the director's office.
Okay. And when they shrink up.
When they're sitting and they're chatting with the director, they like...
Especially if they're in trouble.
Yeah, their body language tends to be one like as if they presented a piece of work and they're being interrogated. So
I think I sort of remember when I used to go, when I used to do something bad when I was a kid and mum and dad used to discipline me. And I'd be sitting there in the front and I remember I used to just like curl up into a little ball, look down and be afraid to look up. So, when you sort of think about things in life, sometimes when you exaggerate a certain point, it allows you to see it a lot more clearly. So for example, if you look down every so often, think to yourself, okay, well, is looking down correct or incorrect? Well, think to yourself, well, what if I look down all the time? Is that correct or not correct? Then it can sort of allow you to answer those questions. And I have this little rule sometimes when I'm unsure, I always exaggerate the extreme in that example, and that allows me to bring out, I guess, more of a certain answer when I'm, sort of trying to figure out something. Does that make sense? It's not quite specific, is it?
It makes sense to me. I know what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll think of an example, and I'll
So this topic is about masculinity and submissiveness.
Yes, right? And also what I touched on there before as well was more about, and we touched on body language as well. And I think a lot of it's to do with your upbringing. If you haven't been taught these things, you might have done something a certain way. I wasn't taught how to sit, how to speak, how to act. I just sort of winged everything, and it got to a point where I asked myself, who do I really want to attract in my life? What kind of people do I want in my circle? And that's when I started to think about things like what I just spoke about, masculinity, and something so basic like body language. I had an issue with my back years ago, and I noticed over time I started to hunch over like this. And I guess if you're standing if you stand like this, it's a very submissive stance. It's not very masculine at all. So, and I find that when you sit like this, what happens to your voice? Your voice softens because you're squeezing your oh my god, I forgot the
vocal cords?
No. I just forgot the name of the part that...
Diaphragm.
The part that opens and closes your lungs. There, I'm using it now. I remember it. But the using the diaphragm, I guess, when you sort of hunched over, again, it exaggerates that I guess that characteristic,
That you're a pushover.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Pretty much.
What you're saying.
I guess, yeah, and also the fact that it demeans you because you're sort of speaking very softly, and you think, oh shit, what's wrong with me?
Also, what I think it is that, so maybe a pushover was a hard word.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you say that, yeah.
But so I know what he's saying. So it's essentially body language and commanding presence. So you'll notice the way leaders, the way they command the room, the way their presence, attracts people looking at them. It's just they just got to be there. They don't need to do much, right?
Yeah.
Because naturally they just command the presence. Now, you generally see people who are beaten down in life. Look at a lot of people being bullied during the teenage years. They tend to walk around hunched over, like they just want to cave in to themselves. So I know what you're saying. And
do you think that tall people have an issue? Because I notice there's a lot of tall people that, because everyone's shorter, they sort of hunch over. Do you think that's just to try and fit in, or is that something like something else, some other psychological thing?
I think it could be more. I don't know. Like it could be a physical thing where because they're so tall and the lack of maybe muscle mass, and over the years they've hunched over more than other people, to read and things like that. I'm not sure. But with this whole submissive thing, I honestly believe it all starts in school. I think school trains you to be submissive, to don't ask questions outside the box. Shut up and listen. Sit the fuck down. Don't have too much of a personality. I think it starts in school. Now what happens is that people go from school into jobs where they work for someone, and then they take that same characteristic with them. So listening to the teacher, doing as you're told, they go now and work with someone, work for someone. Now they're again listening to the boss. I don't like to use that word. That's one of the things I do. I don't fucking use the word boss. So they work for someone and they take that same characteristic with them, and it takes a lot of years to break out of it. And that's why I think people like Gary Vee and stuff like that, they hit the nail on the head where they said, after school, go out and take a risk, take a chance, start your own stuff. Because it has also so much other psychological benefits that you probably don't realize. And one of them is that when you start to do things like that, you will notice, pretty much being your own boss. I feel like you'll notice so many other benefits. Maybe you walk with your chest, up higher, shoulders more back. Goes with everything. You take shit from person one day, the next day you don't take any more shit, and it's just that, hypothetical. I like to do the same examples you do, where you go to the extreme. Hypothetical, someone's, giving you shit, and one day you built the fuck out of them. The amount of pleasure that would give you, and the way you would walk after that, because that day you decided to take no shit.
That's right. And that you just touched on another thing, is that someone who's submissive will be, generally they'll be bullied, because bullies can sense out the submissive and they pick on them. However, if you stand up to a bully and say, hey, no, and you set your boundary and go, hey mate, no, I'm not going to take your shit. Alright, I'm not pointing at you, but although you look like a very big bully at school. Huge guy.
I was never a bully.
I know, it was just a giant teddy bear, but he looked like a big...
I'm a teddy bear inside.
But
unless I don't know you. Fucking go out of your way to piss me off. Anyways, keep going.
But I think if you stand up to the bully and say, look, I'm not taking your shit, no matter what, I will not command to you. I will not submit to you. I am not. You are not my master. You will not be someone who controls me. Because that's what a bully wants. They want control of something. That's what they look for, and that's where the submissives, unfortunately, have their foot in the door, so to speak, in a bad way, because once a bully sees and he smells that fear, that submissiveness, they attack. and a bully gets joy. It feels this. I don't know. I've never looked at it. I've never had the bully mindset. So for me, like, I got bullied at school, so I don't know how it is to think like a bully. I only know how it is to think at the other end, the receiving end of bully. I think the way that I got one bully to stop bullying me one day, it was funny. We were on a bus, and I was in the middle, and now, of course, the cool guys are at the back. Mind you, I was one of the cool guys later on in school. I did sit at the back, but no, I'm not trying to justify my social status. But what happened was, a guy, and it wasn't the bully, it was the bully's friend, was pea shooting at me, and everyone was laughing and carrying on the back. And what I did, I actually confronted him after, because it was the bus trip to school. I actually confronted this person and I said, listen man, I know it's not you. I know that it's the other guy telling you to do that to me. I said, why are you letting that person control you? Why are you letting that person dictate what you do and don't do? And on top of that, what have I personally done anything wrong to you? And he said no. And I said, well, can you please stop doing what you're doing, because it's not cool, bro. And believe it or not, I didn't think it'd work. I thought the next day it'd be just, business as usual, these guys are going to keep pea shooting at me. And believe it or not, they stopped.
So I think in a lot of those situations, so I think in that situation it worked, but I think in general, most people, I don't think words work.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah.
So I always ask myself, like when I see stuff like that, two questions, right? The first one is talking about someone who's very submissive. How did they become so submissive in the first place? Were they born like that? Something happening at home?
Yeah.
Not taught the right things?
Yeah.
Like for example, growing up, my dad told me, if anyone hassles you, just hit them. Don't worry about the consequences. Don't let anyone hassle you.
Yeah.
I wonder, someone who's very submissive, what do they get told? Do they get told that, but something innate in them feels like they can't defend themselves, And then the second thing is that when you are in a situation like that, I know nowadays a lot of people get told, use your words, know how to talk. But I feel like in those situations, that is when you have to go to physicality. And when it comes to a fight, and I think Mike Tyson said it best, like, you're not going to win all of them, but sometimes in your life, you're just going to have these fights where even though you're going to fucking lose, you still got to go and do it.
Yeah.
I
guess that would show that you're not afraid.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the bully needs to see. Once he sees that, they back away.
Yeah.
And, you touched on a good point there about, where does the submissive mind come from, that mindset. And I liken it to, excuse me guys, I liken it to, for example, being the average of the people around you. I think that, if you've studied self-development and you know a little bit about bettering yourself, you may have heard this, and the saying goes is, if you hang around 5 people that are, for example, funny, alright, you will be the average of those 5 funny people. You will become funny like them. If you hang around 5 bullies, you will be a bully too. Alright, you'll be the average of those bullies. So if they all bully regularly, you'll regularly bully as well. If you hang around 5 businessmen, you will become a businessman as well. If that's all you strive to be and you're constantly around that environment, that's what you will be. And I think that comes down to being the product of your environment. And I think submissive people grow up in that environment. Perhaps, yes, there was a lack of that masculine role. Perhaps the lack of the father.
Like no father figure in the house, maybe to tell them, to guide them.
Or maybe there was one, but the father was submissive as well.
Yeah.
And the mother was the masculine.
Yeah.
And we see it all the time, guys. These days, manhood or being the alpha male is frowned upon. If you talk to any feminist, you use the word alpha or male.
Negative connotations.
Straight away.
I probably think like domestic abuse, aggressiveness.
Exactly.
Violence. And even though I was just talking about violence 5 minutes ago. but I know what you're saying.
Exactly. And I think that it sort of goes back to the snag that we were speaking about last week.
Fucking hate snags. Fucking hate them.
It's because you can't relate to them. I get it. I can relate. But you can't. I get it. I know where you're coming from. But I think that in general, having that sort of environment and tiptoeing around people's emotions, tiptoeing around society's expectations, it gives us that submissiveness. And that's where it comes from. That's where it all stems from. And I think that us as men, we need to find our purpose. That is the next topic that I want to talk about once we sort of finish on a few of these masculine things that we're speaking about. A man without purpose, I liken it to a bicycle. Now I know this is going to sound crazy because you're like, a bicycle, what the fuck does that have to mean? But hear me out, guys. A bicycle, if it's not moving forward and in a particular direction to get to a particular destination, it loses its balance, it loses its poise, equilibrium. It cannot stand. As men, we are engineered as goal-seeking machines. We need a purpose. We need some clarity. Once we achieve that, I can guarantee you your life, your mindset, your heart, your soul will feel better. Your life will change. You will feel complete. And I think where a lot of men go wrong is that we search for that completeness, if that makes sense, or we look to complete ourselves through someone else. And we generally do that by seeking a mate, a partner, and we try to fill this void through them. And I think this is the biggest mistake that men make today. I did it. I can put my hand up. I was the first one there. Alright? I was married. I know what it's like when you seek to fill that gap through that person. You lose yourself, you lose your identity and your purpose. So that's something that I think is very important. We need to find our way, our purpose, direction is very, very important. Back to masculinity, another thing that I wanted to talk about was we spoke about how you sit, we spoke about how you stand. When you stand, of course, upright, yeah, chest out. Don't be afraid to be men. I think men are being afraid to be men these days, man. Yeah. I've done it before. I've walked around going, I don't know if the camera can see this, but I walked around my chest and I'm going, oh shit, my chest is that too far. I look like an idiot.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. Yeah. Because then people think you're showing off. They don't like it. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm thinking to myself, well, hold on.
Particularly if you've got a well-built chest. They don't like it even more.
Which is what us men all strive to achieve, right? But I think that once we're, in that position of dominance, and that's what the alpha male seeks, right? They seek to be dominant. And I wasn't used to that for a very long period of time. And then I started to realise that, hey, I have so many masculine, so many dominant characteristics, and there's nothing wrong with that. I started to walk with my chest out. And I started to we're going to touch on this topic too, and I started to not give a fuck about what others thought about me.
That is, to me, the best dominant trait to have, is that part there. Yeah.
Not giving a fuck, yeah?
Yeah, because honestly, like, every person, like, you're going to have dominant traits and you will have submissive traits. Every person's got a combination of them, right?
Yeah.
But the best dominant one you want to have is the I don't give a fuck attitude. Yeah. Like, not as in I don't give a fuck about how I look, what I do. Yeah. So I don't give a fuck what other people think of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
That is the best.
Because you know what? I think if you stop giving a fuck about what you look like, you start to become a bit of a bag. You feel like it. Yeah. I think you only feel as good as you look.
Yeah.
Right? I know it sounds vain, and I apologise for all the feminists out there, but seriously, I think that when you dress nice, like how good does it feel?
Yeah.
Right? You dress up for an occasion, you got the cologne on, you got the antiperspirant on. You should always have the antiperspirant on, guys, but you've got extra cologne, you've got the nice suit on, you've got the shoes, you're popping, you're like, let's get this, man. I think that's very important. And if you can feel like that every morning, get that into your routine. Why not? Wake up in the morning, set yourself a routine. Get yourself groomed. I'm a number one here. Alright, my beard, number one. Alright, every 2 days, because it doesn't grow very quickly. 2 days, sometimes 3. Number one, I hit it. Right? I hit it this morning, boom, just done. Get the cologne on, get the cream on if you're using cream, guys. In Australia the sun's pretty harsh, so Aussie guys, I recommend getting that moisturiser in. I don't care what feminine trait that possesses, but I'm going to say use the fucking moisturising cream. Don't be shy. I know that a lot of guys will be ashamed to admit that, but don't be shy, guys. I use it not very regularly, but every now and again I remember, because it's not something that I've, made as a routine per se. But it's certainly something that I recommend, especially out here in Australia, because the sun's pretty intense. Yeah,
for me, it's razoring my head and.
Let me get a feel of that. Yeah. Ooh, damn! Getting good.
Getting the beard in.
Yeah.
Been watching a lot of Vikings.
What do you do with that? You got like a product you put through, oil or?
No, I put oil in today.
Yeah,
usually I don't.
I gotta get a feel of this.
Yeah.
Ooh, man, I know if I was a woman, I'd be like, this guy's fucking.
So that's what I do, but I do other things in the background, like strength training.
Yes.
I think strength training makes you feeling strong, being strong.
Yes.
That strength carries over into other aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That then you become strong enough, like if someone's been putting it on you, you tell them back.
100%.
And stuff like that. So. Yeah, that to me is like dressing well, even though I'm not dressed well right now. But dressing well,
But hey,
being physically strong.
We're matching today, grey and white. What the hell?
Being physically strong.
There was no memo, by the way. This was a fluke.
But there's a good book called The Subtle Art. Most people know it by now. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And essentially what it states is you only got so many fucks to give.
Yes.
Have you read it? I don't know what that is. So you only got so many fucks to give, so you leave those fucks for the most important things.
Yeah.
And the rest of the stuff, have no expectations, don't give a fuck. If something happens that's great out of that, that's great. It's a bonus to your life.
Yes.
But if something doesn't, that's fine as well.
Yes.
Because you weren't expecting it anyway. But I feel like that is probably one of the most dominant traits that you have, and again, it affects everything that you do, because one of the things is posture. When you tend to walk very upright with a very strong posture, you will get a lot of looks, right? And there's a really good experiment people should try. Is that I don't know if when you're walking this way and someone's walking that way,
like towards you.
Yeah. Do you look them in the eye the whole time?
No, I sort of.
Sometimes you look down, or you look.
Yeah, I look away.
Because it's a bit weird.
Yeah.
Right, but try it when someone when someone's walking towards you, look them directly into the eye.
Yeah. What happens?
Huh?
What happens? Like I've done it, but I always sort of shy away and I look away.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a standoff.
Is
Is
it like the first person that looks away loses?
Yeah.
I've lost my whole life.
I've done it before, and it becomes like I heard it on another podcast, and it's like.
Does it matter if it's male or female? Or is this like
do it to a male? If you're a male, do it to a male.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, I imagine back in the day, it was like a sign of war, but you can imagine.
It would definitely have something
obviously you wouldn't get into a war. I mean, I don't know, you might do it. You might do it to a wrong person, you might get into a fucking fight, but I think the psychological benefits out of that is that it amps you up by staring someone directly into the eye as you're walking past them, gives you a sense of empowerment. That's what I think.
And we're back, guys. We just took a quick time out just to sort the camera equipment out. So Chris also just said, while we were just fixing up the equipment, did we just waffle on? I'm like, no, actually, I disagree. I don't think we did. I think that, this is a perfectly open platform to say whatever the fuck we want, because this is the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that, podcast is a good platform to open up to the world, discuss everyday topics, and help out people, especially men that are, need some direction. And we're both here. We both have experience between us. Mid-30s, there's 70 years of experience. It's not bad. It's not bad, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
So I think, guys, if there's anyone out there that has any questions, please DM on Insta or hit us up with a comment.
Some real questions, because we're getting trolled by sex chat workers.
Oh yeah, what the fuck is up with that? It's like the whole world is a sex chat fucking
bots.
Bot. Yeah, the bots. Yeah, there's so many bots. Come on, Instagram. I mean, Gary Vee had a whinge about this the other day. I don't blame him, and imagine how many he's getting. Like, we're only new on the media. He's just getting smashed with these bots. But anyways, so we're talking about like walking and looking to the eye and embracing
just little things you can do for male. I'll use it to male empowerment. If I'm gonna use it, little things you can do for male empowerment.
Yeah.
Have that dominant trait that you don't give a fuck about anyone's what anyone thinks about what you're doing.
Yes.
Second one is posture, the way you stand, the way you sit when people talk to you. What's your body like? What's the position of your body? Be mindful not for it to be like that, but to be kind of like open up 100%. Back.
And for guys that struggle with that, if you've got posture issues, please go to your physio or your chiropractor. They can fix that for you. It's not a 1 or 2 day thing. It takes weeks, months of training. And to add to that, add into your training chest. Do a lot of chest presses, whether it's dumbbell or barbell presses. Work the chest. Working the chest opens up the chest. Alright? I know it sounds contradictive, but it actually does. The more you build this, the more it opens up, and the more you can.
You got to build your upper back as well.
Okay.
You have to do your upper back as well.
Okay, well maybe I didn't know that, but I'm only speaking from experience, because when I was 16, I was very like this a little bit.
Yeah. It's probably from school. From studying in school.
Possibly,
I imagine most teenagers would be like that.
Yeah, and when I started working my chest when I was 16, I had a home gym. I noticed that I was walking a lot more upright, and I had a lot of comments from family and friends. Oh wow, I can see your chest is big, but not only that, like you've got a good posture. And I was like, wow, thank you. It's
very attractive, a good posture. I find it very attractive in girls when a girl has a good posture.
I agree. I love a good posture, yeah. Whether it's male or female, I appreciate a good posture.
I've met girls where they had a bad posture. They could have a pretty face and everything, good personality, but to me, the physical thing comes first when I meet someone. Yeah. Right? And to me, posture is one of them. When they have a bad posture, it's just not for me. It turns me off.
Yes.
Because I don't know what it is about it. I don't know what signal goes off in my head. It could be maybe unhealthy. This person could be unhealthy.
Yeah, I think coming from your background, Chris, you're quite health conscious. You're very fitness conscious. And I think that generally when you're looking for someone to attract you, would have to possess those traits. Yeah. And obviously
I like strong looking females. That's what I like.
Yeah, and as you look at that person, if they don't have those boxes ticked, we all have those boxes. But if they're not ticked, you will be like, well, you know what, I don't really like that. Or I do like that if they possess it. And I'm the same. I think most people will look for commonality, right, when seeking that partner. I think as much as opposites to attract, and I think the opposites attract rule is more down to masculinity and femininity. I don't think it's really more about, just having, different likes. I don't think it's about that. We all look for common ground, and I think that, for me, I'm into fitness, I'm into health as well. For me, I think it would be hard to say date someone who's a smoker or someone who's perhaps lazy or inactive. For me, that would be hard.
Yeah.
That would be.
I get it.
That would be difficult. You know, and I think that what we do as men, like, it goes back to what I was saying before. If we're looking for a mate, sometimes we try to fill that void through them, through that relationship, but that's the wrong thing to do. You're not ready for it. If you're looking for someone or something to make you happy, it's the wrong way to go about it. You've got to understand the happiness has to come from in here.
Yeah, 100%.
And I have taken, you know, the last few years it has taken me the last few years to work that out. And I really, really believe it. Because now I can confidently say I live by myself. I do this by myself. Whereas years ago, before I was married, I would say to myself, shit, I can't do that by myself. That's how I used to think. That was my mindset. Whereas now I'm like, I got this. You know? And I think that it's not something that happens overnight. It's something that you work on consistently. It is about consistency, guys. And you have to believe in yourself. You've got to be waking up in the morning. All right, we're talking about routines in the morning.
Yeah.
Another routine, guys, add this to your routine list. What you should do is start with 5 things. Just 5 things that you can wake up and say to yourself, I am grateful for. Write them down. If you're new school and you don't have a paper and pen at home, I'm imagining no one has a fucking paper and pen anymore. It's on the phone. Get your notes out. I've got my fucking notes right here.
What did you write this morning? Did you write anything this morning?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly what I wrote this morning. Here you go. It's actually on an app. It's called Gratitudes, right? Check it out.
There you go. Check out the Gratitudes app.
Very good. Oh, I don't have my glasses on. But you continue talking, bro. I'll find it.
Yeah, talking about traits that you find attractive. I was going to ask you, look for your stuff. What were any weird ones? For me, one of the weird ones, well, I don't know if it's a weird one that I have. I don't know if you have it.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate girls who are slow walkers. Like, it shits me.
I get that.
Like, it doesn't shit me, but, like, I imagine they walk slow because they're wearing high heels, right? So they're not going to walk as fast. Some girls can, but...
can I just add to that?
Yeah.
When women wear high heels, and women, please don't hold this against me, please wear high heels as much as you want. But I find that it puts a lot of pressure on their joints and their calves and their knees, and I just don't like the whole heel mentality in society, especially. I know women want to feel sexy, and heels is one of the ways that they do that, and that's fine. What I don't like is the fact that they sacrifice their own comfort and potentially health for style. That's what I like.
Yeah, I know.
I like heels on them. They look great because, hey, it's been ingrained in our subconscious, you know, over the years. Like looking at hot women, they're wearing heels, they look hot, right? Great. But I think there's so much more to it. I think that women should put their health before the heels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, that should be a motto. We should do something. Health before heels. We should start a new channel for the females. No, but I think that it's great to wear them, but please do it in moderation. All right, where you can, just try to look after your feet. I mean, your feet you need feet to walk, to move, to go anywhere. Without feet, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, please continue. I think that's a very good point with the heels.
Yeah,
and walking slow.
Yeah. Because I like to walk everywhere.
Yeah,
so one time I was dating this girl who she just took forever to walk.
Yeah.
Took ages to even cross the road.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, nah, can't do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want to walk like a free man. You know, I want to walk at my own bloody pace as fast as I want.
Here's some of the points I just found. I'm sorry, guys, it took a while. I didn't have my glasses on. I just changed my apps in the last couple of days just to sort of rejig my brain and not be comfortable where everything is and just have a bit of a different routine. But basically, what I wrote was I enjoy the company of my family and friends who have been my rock, and I found peace and comfort in them when I couldn't anywhere else. Also, sometimes I make, during the day, so this was yesterday. So I write, when you download the app, it has like a start of a sentence and you can continue it. So for example, the start of this sentence was, the best part about today was, alright? and then ... And I wrote, going to my brother's house and seeing my nephew, what a joy that baby is. And then another one was, I'm excited about the future. And I wrote, because I've faced so many tests of character over the last few years, and I feel that I'm very resilient. That's another thing that I wrote. And then another one was, I can rely on. An unexpected good thing that happened today was, I admire ... And you can continue these. And without going into too much detail, but they're just a few examples of what you can do. And I think that waking up with that mindset, getting yourself in that space of, I guess, being graceful and being gracious. And I think being grateful is something that we can't, I can't talk about enough. I think people don't do it enough. The way that society has geared us, it's geared us into a negative mindset. Okay, you look at the news, the media, everything's negative. Okay, you look at the self-doubt that we have in our minds. They say that the way you speak to your best friend is the way you should talk to yourself. Now, how many people can honestly say that? Unless you're really fucking, like harsh on your best friend. And I don't
the
know
other one, yeah. The other one is that if you had a friend that spoke to you the same way you spoke to yourself, would that person remain your friend?
Exactly.
Exactly. What would you say to that person? Would you tell them to fuck off?
You tell them to fuck off.
Like, would you be like, yeah, fuck off, cunt? You know?
Yeah.
But then you speak to yourself that way.
Exactly.
I think that's the analogy
exactly
you're getting at.
Right. 100%. I think that it's so important to be good to yourself. You've got to be good to yourself. You got to be happy, and you got to be grateful. They're all in line. They all run in line with each other. I think that a lot of people concentrate so much on the negative. Have you met someone in the last 6 months that whinges a lot, that complains, has a negative connotation to everything? You know that old saying, half full, glass half full, glass half empty? I think I saw a meme this morning was, her glass half full, me glass half empty, 2020, that's cat piss. Or something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it was like a yellowish liquid. Yeah. So I think that we need to sort of let go of that negativity, and it goes back to that routine that we spoke about earlier. When you wake up in the morning, if you list 5 things, alright, and you can do that every day, and they say it takes 21 days to build a habit, so if you can do that for 21 days straight, I guarantee you on the 22nd day it will be a habit, and it'll be a habit that you can be glad and then continue to be grateful for moving forward, because it will be the foundation of your thoughts for the rest of the day. Alright? In the book, How to Win Friends and Influence
I've heard
People.
the book, haven't read it.
Yeah, it's by Dale Carnegie, great book, love it, I recommend it, guys. Another book that I recommend is called Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maltz. Phenomenal book, you guys should check it out.
I have to read that one. I have never heard of that one.
I'm halfway through.
I got 1 credit on Audibles, so
it's on Audible. I'm listening to it in the car. So my trip to work's about 20-25 minutes in the morning. Yeah. So I listen to it then in the afternoon as well. But yeah, with that, the first book that I mentioned, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People, which he says that you should live in day-tight compartments. Now, what he means by that is, when you wake up in the morning and you do that routine where you have those 5 things that you're grateful for, and guys, don't stop at 5, if you can keep going. Steve Harvey does 60. 60.
Fucking hell.
60!
Yeah.
So, can you imagine how grateful he is? And you know what I mean? To put when you put things into perspective, like we were talking about before, we exaggerate things to find a good example, right? And to make an example of something. I love Steve Harvey, massive fan. The guy's a family man, solid gentleman, funny, works super hard. At one stage he's working 4 jobs, to support his family. He's got 6 kids, God bless him. I cried the other day watching his kids on it was a Father's Day special, and man, I was in tears. Like their kid, the way his kids look up to this bloke, he's like a god to them, and that's how we should be as men when we're fathers. I think our kids should look up to us, and we should set a good example. And with day-tight compartments, where I was getting at with that was, when you wake up in the morning, you set up those 5 things that you're grateful for. You should, in that moment, forget about everything else that's happened before. You should live in that day only and worry about that day. Worry about those 24 hours as they happen. Don't worry about the before and don't worry about the after. Because I think as a society, because we're getting so much more information, bombardment of information, information overload. I'm sure everyone's heard of that. Information overload all the time, right? And I think it's very important to just take a step back, breathe in, and live in the moment. And I think that when you live in day-tight compartments, you can live in the moment. You can appreciate that moment for what it is as it's happening. I saw a very good example of that the other day. It was a photo, and it was a photo of a whole bunch of people at a parade. Now, I couldn't tell what they were looking at, but everyone had their phones.
Oh, yeah, I know the one.
It's a very popular photo. You've probably seen it. And then there's this old lady right at the front. She's on the railing like this. She's leaning on the railing, and she's just watching like this. And you could just see how she was enjoying the moment, right? And the caption was, enjoy the moment, or something along that. It might have been like not those exact words, but that's what the intent of the caption was. And I think that's what we're failing to do these days as a society, as men even. We have so much responsibility bestowed upon us by society that we forget to enjoy life. We forget to be grateful for the things that we have in our lives currently. And that's why I say, guys, if we start with that gratitude in the morning, I guarantee you it will change your perspective moving forward for that day and for many days to come.
A good point. No, good point. Cheers to that.
Cheers, bro.
Seems like we've been fucking drinking this drink throughout the whole thing. It's like never ending.
It's a bit like that sometimes, eh?
What's the next topic we got?
The next topic was touching on the previous few masculine traits that we were talking about. Another one is smiling.
Oh, yeah.
And what I want to talk about smiling is, I want to say that I think a lot of people are afraid to smile. You know that sometimes they say to people, well, there's a saying that says, smile to the world and they'll smile back. And I've tried this, and it does work sometimes, but a lot of the times I don't get a smile back. Now, I don't know why. And it was only on sort of looking at myself in the mirror and actually doing what I did to that person. And I realised that my smile didn't seem genuine because I wasn't smiling with my full face. It was a half smile. And they say a genuine...
But did you feel like smiling that day though? Could that be it as well?
Well, no, I guess I just wanted to project some friendliness to
okay, alright, yeah.
Whether or not... That was my purest intention.
Yeah.
That's all. And my intention was actually to make them smile.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they didn't smile back, it didn't detract from that situation. It was just a bit of confusion on my part, thinking, wow, why did I not get that reciprocation? And I think that what we should do when we smile, obviously the research says that when you smile it has to be symmetrical. So if it's asymmetrical, it can come off as not genuine. And when you smile, like they say, a true smile, you get creases around your eye. That's how they say a true smile is. So guys, a dominant guy doesn't smile at everyone, everything, all the time. Alright, you don't walk around like a freaking clown. We're not clowns.
So the episode of The Simpsons when Lenny gets that smile.
yeah, he got the Botox or something, and he's just got his massive smile. from ear to ear. I think that when you are a dominant male, you should be comfortable in your own skin. You shouldn't be worried about your surroundings and the outcome of those surroundings. I was, just to sort of go off on a tangent here, I was talking to some guys. I was helping them out with advice in regards to my experiences with texting and communicating with women. And one of them was a little bit upset because he said, oh, he had a good chat with this girl and he got her number.
Yeah.
And then he texted but didn't get a reply back.
Okay. I like these type of scenarios. Keep going.
Yeah, and the gist of it was that he was always asking about why, and I stepped out of that scenario for a minute and I thought to myself, he's hung up on the outcome.
Yeah.
He's hung up on that outcome.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, had he talked to 100 girls, I'm sure 20 of them would have texted back. 30, 40, 50, I don't know. But because he's only spoken to one, and that girl has not spoken back, texted back in this case, he's sort of taken it personally. And I think that's what it comes down to, goes back to, what I was saying earlier, is about having that reassurance, that assurance in yourself. When you're talking to someone, it can be male or female, you should be comfortable in your skin when you're talking. You shouldn't worry about what that person thinks about you. And it goes back to what that fucking thing we spoke about earlier. Not giving a fuck.
Yeah, I think your mate, to me that's a red flag when someone gets upset or hung up because someone hasn't texted back.
100%.
You know, big red flag.
Yeah, massive.
That to me tells me that that person, that guy...
is insecure.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's like, the image I get, could be wrong, is like, oh my god, she didn't text back to me, and making a big issue out of nothing. Me personally, I think when you are in the dating game and all that stuff, you know, you gotta understand that, you know, not everyone's gonna like you. Yeah?
100%.
Not everyone's gonna be attracted to you.
100%.
Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah? People have a right not to text you back. You know? They don't have to talk to you all the time. Get over it and you move on.
Correct.
And you talk to someone else. And as simple as that.
Someone told me once, as an example, again we're exaggerating here, but someone told me once, they said that you can't impress everyone.
Yeah.
Look at Jesus. He done nothing wrong, he hung up on a cross. He got nailed to a cross. No, I'm serious, right? Like the guy was the friendliest guy on earth and cared for the world, right? I don't want to get into the religious and political side of this argument, but I'm just saying as an example for what we know of him and what happened to him.
Yeah.
Guys, use that as an example. No matter what, there will be people that dislike you.
To me, a good example I heard was someone said, be yourself, right? Because what happens is that be yourself, talk how you want to, because the people who dislike you will leave, and the people who want to converse with you will stay.
It's a filtration mechanism.
Yeah. And you might end up, you know, like talking, say, this was more related in a business context, right? So like, it's a saying that said, if you side with the majority, you got to review you got to relook at what you're saying.
Yeah, okay.
Because what I was trying to get at is by disrupting
the norm,
by saying something different, then the people who go with the majority, they'll go away because everyone else is saying the same thing. Yeah. Your voice is just getting drowned out. Yeah. But the remaining few percentile left of people will actually stay there, want to listen to what you're saying. Yeah. You know. So, but yeah, in this guy's case, and a lot of people's cases, because I've seen this happen before, where they get really hung up on that one person, and it's just like... Yeah. I'll give you an example. Move on. I'll give you an example. When I got married, for my speech, I wanted to tell a joke. Yeah. And my ex was blonde, and there was a blonde joke, and I knew she wouldn't care, but I knew there would be people in the reception that would perhaps not take it too well. But I thought to myself, you know, I remember that joke.
Do ya?
Yeah.
Well,
keep going, mate, keep going on the point. Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to say is that I filtered out what those people were going to think of me, and I went back to the old, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell it because I feel like telling it. Whether or not those people understand it or not, or whether or not those people appreciate it or not, that's on them. Alright? As Ricky Gervais once put it, he said, offence cannot be given, it can only be taken.
Yeah. Is that the guitar lessons example?
I don't know. But I ended up telling you, which was like, how do you get a blonde on the roof?
Yeah. Tell them drinks are on the house.
You tell them the drinks are on the house. That's right.
Yeah.
Alright, so one of my classic one-liners. It's just a little icebreaker, and I had a pretty good general laugh out of it. I think most people had a like little chuckle. I didn't expect everyone to jump on the fall on the floor laughing, but roll around. But I just it was a good feedback, and I was happy that at the end that I took that risk. And I think it goes back to one of the points that we spoke about personally together a few weeks ago. And it was the higher the risk, the higher the reward. And sometimes you got to go out and win and take those risks. And like you said earlier, man, just not give a fuck.
Yeah, so that's it for today.
That's it?
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up.
So guys,
don't be submissive.
Don't be submissive.
Don't take no shit.
Don't take no shit.
Look at your body posture. Look at your posture.
Be masculine.
Chest out, shoulders back.
Absolutely.
Look people in the eye.
Don't be afraid to be yourself, but also don't be afraid to be a man. Don't be afraid to be masculine. There's nothing wrong with that. You will attract the best people into your life if you are who you are. Stick to your guns. Stick to your wits. But above all, don't be afraid to be masculine if you're a man. Alright? There's nothing wrong with that, and you will attract what you want out of it.
That's it. See yous.
Cut.